the Bears, man. These Bears are tricky, man. They're doing this thing the right way. They playing both sides of this thing the way that they should. And I honestly got to give them a ton of credit for the way that they're doing what they're doing right now. So I think I talked to y'all about them interviewing former Ravens, Bills, et cetera, offensive coordinator Greg Roman, right? We were talking about Greg Roman here, briefly last year. It was a fleeting thought. We never really considered Greg Roman for this job in particular because he didn't really fit what we were trying to do. However, his name did come up, right? So he's, to me, the perfect offensive coordinator for Justin Fields. And they interviewed him yesterday. So that stood out like a sore thumb for most of us paying attention to how that situation in Chicago is unfolding. We probably have, outside of Bears fans, Commanders fans probably have the most interest in whatever the Bears are going to do because we are probably the team that stands to gain the most by them deciding to trade the number 1 overall pick. Now, again, there'll be other teams that are interested, but I assume the Bears don't want to move but so far back. So if they're really interested in getting Marvin Harrison Jr. or one of the tackles or whomever, and there's only a certain amount of space you can move back before that player is no longer in play, I would think that Washington at number 2 would make the most sense as a trade partner with the Bears. So I'm keeping close tabs on what they're doing. And when I saw that they interviewed Greg Roman, I'm like, oh shit, this is a sign. Now, this is the thing. They did not sign him, and that was smart on their part. Interviewing him, all it does is lead people like myself who like to be detectives and things like this and draw inferences. All it does is it leads us down a path that we can't prove anything, but it leads us to a conclusion that may not exist, but that's what the Bears want. Now, I've heard this. I don't know if you guys heard the same thing, but I've heard that the Bears are not going to right now, they're leaning towards not trading the number 1 overall pick and making the selection. Now, with that said, they are also keeping all options open in case someone comes with a deal that absolutely floors them, blows them away, and they can't say no. And I guess by them doing what they've done to this point, it has put them in a position to do exactly that, because now they have to make a hire at some point. Now, the reason I bring this up is because Cliff Kingsbury, if you were following, was brought in, and they interviewed him today. And obviously he was the pass game coordinator and an offensive advisor at USC, which is where the number 1 overall pick is going to come. He came from essentially in the USC Trojans. We know Caleb Williams has a relationship with Cliff Kingsbury. Obviously, he was there at SC last year was his first year because he was with the Cardinals the year prior. So last year, he had 1 year with him at SC. So there's a relationship there. He can formulate an offense that is comfortable for Caleb Williams. He knows his strengths, his weaknesses, et cetera, et cetera. So it would make a ton of sense if they're going to draft Caleb Williams to give Cliff Kingsbury the job as the OC, right? So you see what they're doing. They're playing both sides of the fence. Okay, we're going to bring in Greg Roman, interview him, in case somebody throws us the wickedest deal we've ever seen and we can't say no. And then we'll just hold on to Justin in that case, right? And then we'll hire Greg Roman, right? But if nothing materializes and we got to move forward with the process, we can hire Cliff Kingsbury, draft Caleb Williams, number 1 overall. Now we got our OC, guy that he worked with in college, guy that he's comfortable with, guy that can kind of formulate an offense, build it around his strengths and minimize the weaknesses. and move forward from there and then trade Justin Fields, and the rest is history. So the Bears are playing this thing as smooth as you can play it, the way that they should be playing it. But at some point, they're going to be forced to make a decision. Once they hire that offensive coordinator, to me, that signifies what they're going to do. I don't know when that final domino is going to fall. To me, that's the one to pay attention to. So if you really want to know what the Bears are going to do, I'm thinking they're picking from a pool of two guys. I just told you who they are, Greg Roman and Cliff Kingsbury. If they hire Greg Roman, they're probably trading the number 1 overall pick, because Greg Roman and his style of coaching doesn't fit Caleb Williams' skill set. It fits Justin Fields to a T. Remember, he was in Baltimore with Lamar Jackson for about 5 years before they moved on this past year, right? If they go with Cliff Kingsbury, duh, you already know what it is. They're not trading the number 1 overall pick. They're going to select Caleb Williams, and they're going to trade Justin Fields. So to me, that's what we need to be paying attention to. Everything else, smoke and mirrors. Who they hire as their OC will tell us all we need to know as to what direction they're going to go in. I don't think you can hire Cliff Kingsbury. I mean, you could theoretically hire Cliff Kingsbury, get a ridiculous deal, and then double back and you know, trade the number 1 overall pick and keep Justin Fields, and then Cliff Kingsbury is your offensive coordinator. You could still do that. I think it's highly unlikely, though, right? If they're going to give Justin Fields the best chance to succeed, you're going to give him the best coordinator that fits his skill set. And same thing can be said for Caleb Williams. So I just wanted to start out by making that abundantly clear.